Good morning, everyone. It's Monday, April 27th, and it's the last week of April. Actually, it will be May 1st on Friday. So we are moving along through the school year. This week, we will be talking about birds. So we've done mammals, we have done insects, now we're doing birds, and there's 6 total groups. So after birds, there will be 3 more. And it's important for me to tell you there's not only 6 groups, there are more, but these are the main ones. So we will still need to do reptiles, amphibians, and fish. Okay, so back to birds. It's a pretty short list on this poster. There's only 3 things, so I'll go over them. The first one says birds have feathers and wings. Birds lay eggs. Birds are warm-blooded. Now, those are the main things. They have some other things in common too. You might remember that birds are also vertebrates. Actually, a lot of different animal groups are vertebrates. So that was the first word in our vocabulary book. And so mammals, birds, reptiles, amphibians, and fish are all vertebrates. So insects, last week, they have an exoskeleton. So we talked about how insects are not vertebrates, but birds are. Birds are also warm-blooded like mammals. Insects were cold-blooded. What else? So we'll add vertebrates. Oh, so other things that all birds have in common are they have 2 legs and a beak. So even though our list is short, there are other things we could talk about too. Now, today we are going to watch a little video on birds. We're going to add 2 words to our vocabulary book, and then we'll do 2 more tomorrow. We will add to our classification cards, so you will need these. And then if we have time, we'll go over some bird parts. I have a little poster that we can go over together. So that is the plan. Let's get started. I'm going to share my screen so we can watch the bird video on BrainPop. And as we watch, I want you to pay close attention to the words camouflage and predators. Those will be our vocabulary words today. Okay.
This again? How many times do I have to tell you, birds aren't a government conspiracy? You gotta spend less time online. Dear Tim and Moby, I love birds. Please do a movie on them. From Tess. Sure, Tess, maybe it'll convince Moby that birds aren't military spy drones. There are close to 10,000 different species of birds. They all have 2 legs, wings, feathers, and a beak or bill. They also lay eggs with hard shells. Like us humans, birds are warm-blooded or endothermic, so their body temperature stays the same no matter what the temperature is around them. This allows birds to survive in very cold places. Birds are also vertebrates. They have a backbone. Yep, most birds fly, and their bodies are built for that. Their bones are hollow, which makes them light. Many of the bones are fused together for strength and to support the strong muscles they need to fly. Birds are the only animals with a fused collarbone. You probably know it as a wishbone. It provides stability for the bird's powerful flight stroke. Flight muscles also need a good supply of oxygen, so it makes sense that birds have an extremely efficient respiratory system. Those are the parts of the body that allow an animal to breathe. A system of air sacs helps birds provide enough oxygen for the flight muscles. This system also helps birds do that other thing they're known for, singing. Birds can make so many different sounds because they have a syrinx. It's kind of like the human voice box, but with double the parts. That allows some birds to do things like sing 2 different notes at once. They use their voices to send specific messages about things like predators or food. And songbirds, the best singers, belt out complicated love songs to attract mates. You can check out their skills after the movie by playing Birdsong Hero. Songbirds are such pros at singing that some can even sing while they fly. Outdoor cats are a big threat to birds. It's a good thing that one was able to get away. It all comes down to the shape of their wings. The top is curved, so air has to travel farther across the top than the bottom. As a result, the air pressure across the top of the wing is less than the air pressure underneath it. That difference in pressure creates an upward force called lift. Airplane wings work using the same principle. In fact, the Wright brothers studied birds to help them design the first airplane. Yeah, when it comes to flight, birds are hard to beat. Some travel tens of thousands of miles during their migration. That's the seasonal movement of animals from one region to another. The longest migration of any animal is made by the Arctic tern, 44,000 miles. Over a lifetime, they can fly the equivalent of 3 round trips to the moon. To navigate across these long distances, birds use a combination of senses, including one that we lack, which allows birds to sense Earth's magnetic field. Arctic terns fly from one pole to the other and back. Birds also gather information on their location from the position of the sun and stars. Lots of birds fly south for the winter, but not because of the cold. It has to do with the shorter days. That's a big part of how birds know it's time to go. Shorter days means less sunlight. And sunlight is what provides plants with energy to make their own food. Then plants become food for other creatures, like, say, birds. So, less sun means less food, and therefore less energy for everyone. It's a challenge many creatures face, and birds often tackle it by taking off for somewhere sunnier. Migration can also help birds find a safe place to raise their young. They need somewhere with plenty of food for those hungry little hatchlings, and away from predators looking for their own easy meals. Right, baby birds can't fly because they don't have their adult feathers yet. In many species, males and females develop different colored feathers. Females tend to have more muted tones, which provide camouflage. That's especially helpful when you need to sit still on a nest for a long time. Brightly colored feathers usually belong to males to attract mates. So, feathers aren't just for flying. Fossils even show feathers on some dinosaurs that couldn't fly at all. Actually, today's birds are living dinosaurs. You may have heard that dinosaurs went extinct after an asteroid struck Earth. It kicked up enough dust to block out the sun, so Earth got too cold for most dinosaurs. But one branch of their family tree did survive. Birds split off from dinosaurs about 150 million years ago. Their warm blood and larger brains helped them adapt to the challenging new environment. And they didn't just survive, they thrived. Since then, they've adapted to live on all 7 continents. So, anyway, are you finally convinced that birds are real? See, now, why would the government make them do that?
Okay, so that was the video. There were a few things I took notes on that were new for me. So one word I heard was endothermic. Can you say that? Endothermic? Well, in the video, they said that means warm-blooded. And we know birds are warm-blooded. So if you ever hear that birds are endothermic, that's what it means. So birds are endothermic. That just means their body temperature stays the same no matter where they are. The video also talked about how they have hollow bones and a special fused collarbone. Both of those things help them be able to fly. I'm not sure if it mentioned it, but not all birds can fly, right? The ostrich, for instance, cannot fly. Penguins cannot fly. So not all birds can fly, but they do have the hollow bones and that special collarbone. They also have a special voice, right? They have I think it was called a syrinx, and it's more complex than our voice box. It allows them to make more sounds and different sounds at the same time. Oh, this was cool. Birds evolved from dinosaurs, and that's a newer discovery. When I was a kid, we did not know that. So it's really cool that we know that now. And they say that birds evolved from dinosaurs about 150 million years ago. So it's an interesting fact. Let's get to our vocabulary. So the first word I have for you is camouflage. So in your vocabulary books, you'll need to open to a new page. And if you don't have a vocabulary book, just take out your journal. That's fine too. And you're going to put camouflage in the word box. And then the definition is blending in with its surroundings. Now we saw this in the video when they showed us the difference between many male and female birds. So a male bird is like a boy, female is girl. So oftentimes the male birds are more brightly colored so that they can attract the females, right? They want to look flashy and cool. Where the female birds are more muted, meaning their colors are not very bright, so that they can blend in with the surroundings when they are laying their eggs and sitting on the eggs, because they have to sit still for a long time. So they don't want predators to see them. Right? They want to protect themselves and their eggs. So usually the females are the ones who want to blend in with the surroundings. So you can pause this if you don't have it written down yet. Camouflage and blending in with its surroundings. I'm going to move on to the sentence. So if you have not written this, go ahead and pause. And I'm moving on in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so we need to write a sentence. Now, I was just telling you how usually female birds have more muted colors to camouflage with their surroundings, to protect themselves and their eggs. That's a lot to write. So, since we know birds are not the only ones who use camouflage, a lot of animals do. I wrote, animals use camouflage to hide from predators. It's pretty short, so you are welcome to use my sentence, or you can make your own sentence too. That would be very awesome. And if you make your own definition, I'd love to see it. You can always send me a picture. Okay, so make sure you write that down. You can pause this, and I'm going to move on. In 3, 2, 1. So there's a word in the sentence I made, predators, right? Most of you probably know what a predator is by now, but it is a word we should add to our vocabulary book because it comes up a lot when we talk about animals. So a predator is an animal that hunts other animals for food. Okay, go ahead, pause this, write it down on the next page. Predator goes in your word box, and then you'll add the definition too. I'm going to move on in 3, 2, 1. Okay. Now, in the video, it showed us the cat chasing the bird. So in that scenario, the cat was the predator and the bird was the prey. Right? So the predator attacks the prey. And usually we see that cats, dogs, and a lot of other mammals are predators of birds, right? They will try to catch and eat the birds. Sometimes, though, a bird can be a predator. An example, or actually a few examples, are some bigger birds like owls and hawks and eagles. Those are all big birds that are also big predators. So an eagle usually likes to eat fish, so the fish would be the prey. With owls like to eat mice and small insects, whereas hawks like to eat a lot of small mammals. So birds can be predators, but smaller birds usually are the prey. So I wanted to take note of that. For our sentence, I wrote, cats, dogs, and other mammals are common bird predators. You can write that too. Just pause it and copy it. Or you can say that large birds or big birds like owls, eagles, and hawks are common predators. Either way. I'm going to move on, so hopefully you wrote that sentence. If you didn't, I'll hold it up one more time and count down so you can pause. 3, 2, 1. All right, and we are going to move on. We need to add to our classification cards, so go ahead and get those out. We'll be opening to birds. I've been coloring mine as we go. So if you want to color yours in, it's kind of relaxing. It's pretty simple, so you can shade them in whenever you have time. So on the back of your bird page, we're going to add the 3 things from our poster. Right, birds have feathers and wings. Birds lay eggs. Birds are warm-blooded. And then since there's room here, I'm going to add number 4 and write that they are vertebrates. Okay, so I'm going to hold up the poster. I will hold up my classification cards. Let me find a okay. You can go ahead and pause this so that you can copy it in. I'm gonna add those 4 characteristics to your card, your bird card. And I would pause it quickly. I'm gonna move on in 3, 2, 1. And hopefully we're able to add that in. Okay, so we just have one more thing. I'm going to be showing you a bird with different body parts. So let me bring that up. Okay, here's our bird. So on the bottom, we have a list of the different bird parts that we'll be filling in. So let's go through and read those. I want you to say them with me. We'll start with this first one that starts with an F. And we'll read across each line. You ready? Okay, loud and clear, and go. Feathers, back, breast, tail, crown, belly, beak, wing, throat, eye. Okay, if you want to practice them again, you can pause and read them to a family member. But we're going to go on and add them to this diagram. So I'm going to start up at the top. And this one is actually one of the trickier ones. But look at your word choices. What do you think would go on the very top of a bird's head? And think about what goes on the top of a king or a queen's head. And that's right, it is the crown. So I want you to say the letters as I type them in. Let me make this bigger for you. It's at a 12. Make it a 18. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, so for this one, I'll say the letters too. Get this out of the way. Okay. C-R-O-W-N. And I'm going to move down to this box. What would that be? It's not their mouth, it's their beak. So again, let's say the letters. B-E-A-K. I'm going to go back this way now. The line is pointing at the eye. E-Y-E. And over here we have their back. B-A-C-K. Here it's pointing towards it's not their arm, it's their wing. W-I-N-G. Which means these would be their feathers. F-E-A-T-H-E-R-S. And all the way at the end, see, look at your choices. What could that be? The tail. T-A-I-L. Okay, we'll work our way up. Okay, this would be their belly. B-E-L-L-Y. Here we have their breast. Many of you probably eat chicken breast. B-R-E-A-S-T. Which leaves one more. That's right, it's the throat. T-H-R-O-A-T. All right, we did it. So you should have a little bit of time left to go on to typing.com or typingclub.com. Remember, you want to be typing every day, making sure your fingers are on the right keys. I know it is so tempting to just use your finger, but it's a bad habit to get into. My dad still does it, and he has worked on computers for most of his life. Whereas I have my fingers in the right position and I can type so much faster than him. And that's the goal, really, is to be able to type faster than you can write. So keep practicing that just a little bit every day, making sure you have the right fingers on the right keys will get you there pretty quickly. So that is all, my friends. Have a wonderful afternoon, and I will see you again tomorrow.